Kayak anglers of the internet. Welcome back to the Advanced Kayak Angler with myself and Kurt. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Getting ready for Dale Hollow. Some bluegrass Kentucky guys action. Some of their hitting one of their tournaments.
Yeah, you've been watching the who was just there? MLF.
MLF. Honestly, I try not to. I feel like that will spin me out, right? Because that lake is so big and it's like an octopus, and there's like a million different places to go. So I'm just like, I'm kind of just doing what I do there. I got like 3 spots I'm going to check out that I've fished before. I have some history with. And when I say spots, they're giant. But anyway.
Yeah. Areas.
Now, who I need to talk to is the guy we're having on tonight, Mr. Drew Gregory, the one and only, probably one of the most winningest kayak anglers out there.
Yeah.
Drew,
I don't know.
welcome on, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you. I don't know about that, but I know I'm definitely content, man. If I don't win again, I think I am been beyond blessed. And I know I don't get out there and fish quite as many as some of the other folks, but for the number I actually have fished, to be able to have like this many wins now, and obviously a couple AOYs, this Bassmaster Championship, I'm serious. When I've told people, I said, I'm good, man. Like I just want to see other people win now. I still am going to compete and try as hard as I can, but I'd love to see some other people have the same like feelings, and they're pushing themselves as hard. You guys included, you're always chasing the sport to reach this like point of either like first it's a win, right? Just a one national win. Kurt, you've been there, dude. You got a national championship, dude. So, getting a win, Dan, you too, man. I mean, God, how many,
I got KFL. They're not even around anymore.
Exactly, man. The KFL. Yeah,
I got one. I got the only one you don't have.
Only one, right? But you chase so hard, man, and then you get there and you don't even know how to feel. It's like, now what? And so I don't know. But yeah, you get the win, you get the one national win, then you're like, okay, maybe I could win an AOY, and then you blessed to get a couple of those now, and then like, okay, all I was missing was a championship, and thank the Lord, it just worked out, man, out there in Oklahoma. I know we're going to talk about it today, so I can't wait to show you guys some videos and pictures, and man, just super blessed. And it's kind of cliche, but very humbled, and like you said, a little bit uncomfortable. Like I can't believe, I want another one. It blows me away sometimes that it just all worked out. So
not just another one, man. I mean, this is like one of the biggest tournaments.
Yeah. If there's one I wanted to win, this would be it. If you could win one, this is the one. Following Bassmaster as a kid, growing up, the magazine, everything, and then them putting on a kayak series and having the championship is pretty cool to win that one. So, but yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not fishing a ton this year because I've got that new Kayak Adventure Series, which we'll touch on. Putting on, but I am going to fish the rest of the Bassmaster, and I don't know if I'll be able to cherry pick a Hobie or not, but don't know if I will, but probably the rest of I'll beat Gunnersville, Susky, and then Caddo for Bassmaster. I haven't fished one yet. I missed Murray and didn't go to Possum Kingdom, so only be doing 3, I guess, for AOY. But I think I qualify for the championship already. I think the winner of the championship automatically qualifies for next year. So
I guess if they don't, Steve can change it, make that a rule.
Yeah, it should be a rule. It should be. I think they do. Yeah. I think they do. So I think I'm good, even if I don't make it with points, because I'm giving myself the very minimum. The 3 is the very minimum for AOY. So, although, whatever, I won both my AOYs on the minimum, so I guess anything's possible. But it's also possible for me to go the other way and have a bomb and not even make the championship via points. But whatever, I've got it. So, anyway, but boys, yeah.
Yeah, but first, like you said, let's talk about the Kayak Adventure Series. I got the deal here. We got the first event coming up, the Shoaliepalooza.
Shoaliepalooza, yep, the one right there on the top left. This is super cool. I know we've talked about it before, but we're a couple weeks away from this thing getting started. It's been, I think, announced for well over a year, and the momentum, we try to keep it going and building. We do a live stream every Wednesday at 11 a.m. and bring on guests, and obviously the cool concept with using these cool historic downtown theaters for our awards, having a big festival there right by the theater before we go to the awards. So it's kind of, food, drinks, Toyota truck demos, kayak demos at some of the locations that have water, nearby. Shoaliepalooza will have kayak demos at opening ceremonies on Thursday, but Saturday's festival, all that stuff, Kid Zone, merchandise, booths, vendors, sponsors, if you will, and just a good time, guys. So it's going to be fun using those theaters and putting, obviously, GoPro is the headline sponsor, so we'll be putting on photos and videos of anglers' catches on the big screen. So that's unique and a little bit
awesome.
It's not, live stream like Bass and MLF and all that, but it's as close as it gets, and we all love watching this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and be able to see, telling a story is one thing. The anglers on stage that we'll bring on stage, they can still, they'll still talk and tell the story, but I think the video will take a little bit of the edge and the nerves off of some of the people because, a lot of folks aren't used to being on stage, and this isn't meant to be some elite level kayak fishing tournament series. It's kind of, there will be elite level anglers fishing it. I mean, Russ is fishing it. I think Jody's fishing this first one. You got a lot of sticks, Robert Weicker, another Ohio Hammer. I mean, there's a lot of good anglers fishing this first one.
And you have the old school river bassin team of the year. Yeah.
They're running it back. So
yeah,
good anglers. There are definitely some very good anglers, but it's not like, the entry fees are lower, $150 for the individual division. And then the team, as you kind of alluded to, we have a team division to promote that camaraderie. That's $150 also. So it's just $75 a piece, and you can enter both or just one. So in theory, you could come be a part of this for $75 in that team division. So it doesn't really, it's not some high risk, high dollar, entry like the big elite levels that we love to fish, you guys and I. So yeah, I mean, it should be fun, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I'm nervous because there's a lot of moving parts. Just to quickly give you guys the recap, I can pull up the website here.
Yeah,
that up. The quick and dirty, guys. If you want to get in on this, it is 5 fish, but over the course of a day and a half of fishing. So we fish Friday afternoon. But first, let me start with Thursday. So I'll actually go to this website. I'll show you the first event is Shoaliepalooza. So we're 16 days away, and you can see here on the website, it takes a second to load, but there's the theater will be in the Ritz, and you can go down here and scroll down. You can get a kind of overview of some of the water, and obviously this is to catch that bucket list fish, right? The shoal bass. Yeah. So some beautiful water. It's in balance for this event. You can see there's a cool shot of Craig Dye.
I fish down there. It's as beautiful as a place as there is in the U.S. and to catch a shoal bass is, I mean, that's a dream for so many people.
Oh yeah, there's my wife with a 5-pounder. It really is a dream, and this is giving you guys a reason to get down there and catch one. Because I mean, think about it. When are you just going to pick up and randomly on your own just go to Georgia and think you're going to catch a shoal bass and try to do it? That one right there on the right, by the way, is 24 1/4 inches, 7 pounds 2 ounces. Longest shoal bass I've ever heard of being caught. I think that could be a record. But yeah, when you can ever just pick up, am I right? I mean, when you can just pick up and go ever catch a shoal bass on your own, if you're from some other state, you're not. This is kind of this is giving you a reason. The only time you're probably going to do it, just knowing that this is going on. So cross that off your list. They get huge, as you can see. I've caught a couple over 7, and they are commonly over 5 pounds. And actually, I'll go back up the pictures here. So one thing that's unique about this fish, little history about the fish. You know how like largemouth and smallmouth, the males are smaller and the females are the ones that get big, That's called sexual dimorphism, and that's not true with shoal bass. And that's why in the spring, especially when the fishing's good, right? I mean, this applies any time of year, but especially the spring, you might go out there and catch, if you catch, 20 or 30 or 40 shoal bass, like literally half of those shoal bass will be like 2.5, 3 pounds and up. Like half of them. So that's a pretty cool thing because the males get big and the females, they both get big. So that's a pretty cool fact about the fish. So you're really fishing for 50% of the population, just the adult population, which most tournaments we're fishing for 25% of the population, just females and just adult females. So it's a really cool fish. You guys should definitely go catch one. You've obviously caught them. Have you ever caught one, Kurt?
Yeah, I went down with my buddy Mitchell, who lives right. I believe it's in some of the water that you're going to be fishing. He took me out to catch one. Yeah, they're fighters, awesome. Man. I tell you what, even the small ones, like you catch an 18 and you think you have a 20 on.
That's true, man. They fight so hard. They're right up there with smallmouth in my mind. But yeah, all the information's right here, guys, on the website. It's pretty cool. All the rivers and a couple lakes and bounds. Even the shoal bass won't be in the lakes, but we obviously with the Kayak Adventure Series want to highlight rivers, lakes, creeks, everything. Let people just kind of, we're all different with different personalities and different kayaks, and just we want to celebrate and highlight the diversity of the sport of kayak fishing with the series, with our rule set, our format. You can use all the electronics you want, live scope, power pole, whatever you want to do, motors, it's all good. But then at the same time, we allow people to launch from anywhere that's public. So if you want to go launch up some river or creek, go for it. It's kind of like the UFC, where you just kind of let all styles come together and duke it out and see what happens. And, if people think the rivers and creeks, more people are going to fish rivers and creeks in this series than lakes, because it's definitely a series that probably allows more of that to happen, then that's just going to leave the lakes wide open, to the anglers that fish lakes and enjoy that style of fishing. So especially on Friday when it's a weekday and the locals are on the lakes yet. So anyway, but the quick and dirty in terms of our timelines, guys, you show up, and Thursday is opening ceremonies. There's opening ceremonies and check-in on Thursday. And then you have a dinner. We have a dinner we're going to go to after that. It's optional. And then Friday, it's all the information's here, but basically there's even literally a hour by hour itinerary right here. But Friday, after the opening ceremonies and check-in, which you can still register up to the opening ceremonies as well. But right here, that's cool. Friday, you've got the Bass University brunch, the Bass U brunch, and it's at this cool secret downtown venue. It's like a speakeasy. It's really cool. There's a map and an entrance to it right there you can click on. But basically, we just have seminars going on you can see up here, the seminars are Gene Jensen, YouTuber panel, Dr. Salmons and Travis Ingram about shoal bass. And then Jeff Little and I are going to talk about river fishing secrets we don't want to divulge. And we provide you guys breakfast of that brunch, breakfast, whatever you want to call it. But that's pretty cool. And then at Friday, that ends around 12:30, 12:40. Then you guys, the anglers get on the water at 3. Well, technically 2:30, they can be on the water, but no fishing until 3. And they fish from 3 to 7. And then after that, I'll do a recap online, and there's nothing else happens. Saturday is pretty much fishing all day, like typical, ending at 3. And then the festival start at 3 o'clock back at the tournament kind of headquarters downtown Thomaston, Georgia. So then we at 6 o'clock after the festival is over at 5:30, we go to the theater and then have those awards. And so basically that's kind of how it's done. And there is a designated after party too. If I can bring I thought I had another picture of the theater, but there's a designated after party as well at that same speakeasy. So there's Speedwell Bluff Park. It's beautiful. But that's it. And then Sunday
with the last event that on Possum Kingdom, and they had to delay it a day. I saw a few people say that they had so much fun because it was delayed, and they didn't, that meant that Friday night they got to hang out with their friends and drink and do whatever, and it was more like group thing than Saturday they got to hang out with their buddies. I like that on your event, Sunday is hangout. Like you don't you don't have to go home super early. You don't have to be on the water that day. So Saturday night after the events, you can take a nap. Me, I'd have to take a nap first, but take a nap and then go out and hang out with your friends. I mean, it's like bringing the fun back into tournaments.
It's a boondoggle. I
really do appreciate that.
It really is a boondoggle type thing. I mean, we have a 5 smallest bass division called the micro bag. You can go catch the 5 smallest, minimum of 5 inches, just for fun. Most people are entering that to hedge in case they have a bad day. They're just going to start going the other direction, thinking, you know what, I'm not going to win the biggest 5, but this little micro bag was $25 to enter. Might as well go for it, and there's trophies for that too. So, I think there's a lot of fun stuff like that going on that's pretty cool. We've got a tackle for trash award. You pick up trash with those AFCO bags, and that we'll give you guys. And then you're going to get some tackle for Omnia Fishing and a $25 gift card to AFCO. I could go on and on. We raise money for pediatric cancer. Every one of these events are, with the flyer you showed there, or you probably noticed their headline sponsored by a different kayak manufacturer who's donating a kayak to raffle off for pediatric cancer. So it's a good cause. And to your point, which I probably didn't touch on it enough, is if you think about it, it's very strategic how all this has been laid out. And obviously it's from, my background is in sports management, my master's degree. And I did run sports leagues before I did fishing for a living, right? So I know a little bit about running leagues and tournaments. And of course I did the river bass and tournament trail back in the day too. So I know a little bit about this stuff. And so as I'm fishing them, I am kind of mentally thinking to myself, man, what are the things that I'm not really enjoying about this format, or some things that are, how it's done, or what could be done different. And I get that this isn't, the elite level fishing competitions can't also be a boondoggle and just a big party. They can't really be the same, because the higher stakes, the more people are starting to do it for a living, and then it's a job. And you don't see PGA Tour players partying and drinking until 1 and 2 in the morning if they got a 6:30 a.m. tee time. They're there to work, so you can't really have both. But we are just trying to be that intermediate fun. But what you touched on was key, is on Thursday, it's super strategic. We don't start on Friday until 3 p.m. for a reason. We want you guys at opening ceremonies with the food trucks and the fun and that restaurant afterwards. Some places we might be at a brewery for opening ceremonies, or different venues, a bowling alley, whatever, different places we're at. And then we get to stay and hang out and just have fun Thursday night. And there's no reason to go back and be like stressed about, I need to rush and and rig up and spool and do all this stuff and charge this and charge that. And feel stressed, because there's no pre-fishing allowed on Friday until lines end. You can't do anything but drive around and scout. You know what I mean? If you want to do that, you can. That's why we have that brunch, that seminar brunch. Let's all get together and just kind of recover from the night before, no matter how late we were out, have a good time, learn some stuff, and just enjoy the fellowship. And then the same thing with, obviously Friday, there's nothing going on because you stop fishing at 7. And then obviously it takes a while to get back from your, lake or river and get cleaned up and get dinner and get to bed. So there's nothing happen then. I want you guys to get to bed early. But then Saturday, that's critical, is we wanted to end this thing on Saturday so that for that reason, we can party the night away again. So not just Thursday, but also again on Saturday night after the whole thing is over. And it's not just so we can party and have fun together afterwards. It's actually so that people will still be there at the awards. If it's Sunday, everyone's gone. Like, if you didn't cash a check, you're not there. You got to work. You got a job. You got a family. Yeah. We just felt it was easier for people to take off work on a Friday than it is a Monday. And if you're far away, and some of these, certainly the national trails, you're going to have to travel pretty far away. And if you make the awards and by the time that's over, it's 7:30, you're not getting home like on time for work on Monday. So we wanted to end it on Saturday so that people, our peers, could be there cheering us on, at the awards, celebrating everybody. And so we could have that after party and just party the night away, have fun. And then guess what? Like you said, Dan, there might be 4 guys out there that love to play golf. And they're going to say, guys, I got us a tee time on Sunday. Bring your clubs. And somebody else might say, Cody Milton might say, let's go play pickleball, or somebody else is going to say, well, let's go. We got actually a side pot tournament sponsored by Batteries Plus. It's called Batteries Plus Sunday, Batteries Plus stores. It's Batteries Plus Sunday. If you want to fish some more, it's a 6-hour tournament, just 6 hours from the time you check in on Tourney X. So you get to decide if you want to sleep in or get up early and fish again, or just show up and just fish that. If you don't want to fish anything else and just fish that, you can just fish that. I mean, it's up to you guys. But anyway, the Sunday can be used for so many things, including a very important one, which is the American Canoe Association seminars, the ACA seminars that a bunch of us got certified in kayaking and paddling and safety. And by the ACA, which has been around since the 1800s. It's one of the oldest nonprofits in the U.S., actually. And so we've been certified to also know that we know how to teach this to other people. So not only do we know how to do it, we've been trained on that. We know how to actually teach it. And by teach it, I don't mean just like safety and paddle strokes. I mean how that applies to this right here and winning these, because it does in a big way, and way more than anyone understands and realizes until you take our classes. So Jeff Little, Dustin Hoy, and Russ Snyder's will be teaching a class on Sunday afterwards. And I've found this great location that is actually a private lake. It used to be a gold golf course. It's real easy to get in and out right there off the grass, right in the water. And you guys are going to learn a lot about paddling and fishing. If you want to take that class, it's $110. You just got to email, PayPal Jeff Little the money, and you're in. So, but it maxes out at 15 people. It'll change your fishing career for the rest of your life. So that Sunday is all the extra stuff, and leaving that open was definitely strategic. And like you said, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how people utilize that and just what they do with this entire series. So it's definitely going to be cool.
I imagine it was some of these tournaments, whenever they come to a town, it's hard to show the economic impact. I'm sure for you, for this tournament series, there's probably some towns that, at least maybe after you get the numbers after some tournaments this year, you're really going to be able to show a lot of good economic impact in that area and be able to get locations excited to bring you on next year and the
I hope
following
so.
year. Yeah.
What's crazy is actually, a little side note before we switch gears, 2025 schedule is done. Like, I don't mean done like, oh, I've just got it figured out. I mean, like, the contracts are signed by everybody except for one city. It's the only one that it's still TBD, but it's all done. Like, and I didn't have 2024 since we starting in May, and I wanted to start with Shoaliepalooza because I felt like it would be one of the biggest. So I wanted to come in with some momentum, but basically I didn't have any of 2024 stats like you're saying or anything to show them. So I had to kind of like sell them on the same thing I did with the 2024, cities, and they just believe in it. I think it helps when you have Toyota believing in you and Headline sponsoring this whole thing. Sorry, Toyota. I said Toyota GoPro, but and Toyota being a part of it. Both those
and you, man. I think a lot of it's
and
you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I definitely probably forget about that a lot of times. Like, like it's weird. Like I still feel like I'm whatever, dude, like a teenager or something. Like I'm in college, but I'm like, I shouldn't because I'm aching, being 45 now and having the kids and just getting worn out with all this stuff. But I still forget that, like, yeah, I mean, like, obviously I've got the following, and I guess that plays a big part too, for sure. So, but yeah, having the sponsors, then they see that I'm legit, that I've won, trophies and stuff like this. And I've, they can Google me and find all this stuff. So it definitely doesn't hurt. And, but they believe in it enough. And man, we've got some really, really cool locations for the next year. I mean, I can't even like compare the two, because this season I had like there's 6 bullets to fire, right? Like if you're going to go to 6 places, you want to go to some of the best fisheries, some of the hidden gems. Like I just want people to catch fish, like you guys have both fished tournaments where maybe you didn't have the best tournament, but you caught a ton of fish in practice and in the tournament. So at least felt good. Then there's the tournaments where you go and it's I don't know, man, for a while there, just to throw a lake onto the bus, Lake Eufaula was fishing bad. You know what I mean? For a while. And, when I went there and man, I didn't catch that many fish, had a decent finish, whatever I fished there. But it was like lakes like that where you just, it's a grind to catch
like that too, huh?
Dardanelle. Yep.
There's
some tough lakes that are out there that just, if you look at kayak fishing stats for 2-day tournaments, which this one being 5 fish is definitely going to help the intermediate and beginner anglers actually have a chance to compete with the top anglers, because anyone can, the lower number of fish, the better, you know what I mean? Like for the intermediate level anglers, because if you start giving Russ and you guys, like the guys who are at the elite level, like 3 and 4 days, like it's just, anybody can be at the top of that leaderboard after day one. But once you start adding 5, 10, 15, 20 fish, like 4 days for the elites. So that's why in PGA Tour, like golf, the same names keep rising to the top. It's hard so anyway, but the tough lakes.
How many fish is it?
It's 5
is it
fish.
Friday and Saturday together total?
Just 5. Yeah, just 5 total. So, which is cool because you can make a mistake on Friday. That's where it really caters to the beginner. But not only just, we try to tell people, and I think people understand, and they're excited about going there. Like Christine Fisher's fishing the one in Wisconsin, and a lot of other big names are like, oh, I'm fishing that one. I'm going to fish that one. Jody Queen, like I said. And it's actually cool because it's like Ike and Ellie fishing our tournaments. You either get a chance to beat them and then say you beat Ike, right, which is cool, or you get a chance to be there and meet them and hang out with them and glean a little information off of them. Except for the way we do it, you don't just get to hang out with him for a quick little minute and say hi, bye, because he's got stuff to do and things to go. It's like all this designated time we're like fellowship hanging out. You know what I mean? There's no reason to go do anything else because, like I said, the way we've laid it out is just, you can wake up on Friday and do that stuff, if you need to, and you'll have time. And then once it's over on Saturday, same thing. It's like, hey, we don't have to drive home to work. Awesome. So anyway, but the tough lakes, we went to places that I know where people are going to catch fish, and lots of them. The Shoaliepalooza, during the time of the spawn for shoal bass, that is the easiest time to catch those things, and the biggest ones. This will be, as long as the water is okay, we don't get flooded out in some crazy rain, which could easily happen. And if it does, we got the lakes and bounds, rivers certain creeks will drop quicker, and you can still catch them in mud. But we just want people to be safe, obviously, and maybe go to the lake if they're not very confident in their angling skills, paddling skills. So take the ACA class. But anyway, what was I saying about? Oh, the Shoaliepalooza, and then Michigan next for wild whitehall. That you're going to catch a ton of smallmouth and largemouth. I mean, literally, you can just put it in anywhere and start catching fish up there, and you're going to catch numbers. And then the next one is the Poplar Bluff, which is called Ozarkana, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. I mean, Ozark streams and lakes are always good, man. Everyone knows that, so that's going to be a good one. And then you got the next one is the Fiesta on the Susky, the North Branch of the Susquehanna, and all the tributaries. Obviously, you're going to catch good fish there and numbers of fish. And then the Wisconsin River Fest is so good that's the one Christine was like, I am penciling that one in. I'm going to try to make that one because that is epic up there. She thinks it's better than the Susquehanna, she said. So we'll catch a lot of fish there.
In that one, whenever Bass was it Bass or Hobie went there?
Well, no one's been there yet to where we're going.
Oh,
but yeah.
Okay.
Not that particular river, right?
You're thinking about the Wolf and Fox.
Yeah. That's right.
I remember I placed that one. I think Guillermo did. Christine might probably, I think, placed as well. Yeah, Russ. It was a lot of, that was fun though. Over there at Appleton, Wisconsin, the Wolf and Fox, that was cool. But that was, that's kind of, I guess, further up, I guess. But or I don't know, further to the east. But this was right in the middle, the Wisconsin River. So this right here actually goes into like pool maybe 12 of the Mississippi River. If you keep following the Wisconsin River down, then you hit the Mississippi. And it's not in bounds all the way that far down. You know what I mean? The whole thing isn't in bounds that far. And you can go on the website and see the boundaries. But so pretty much it's kind of like lacrosse, except for it's all free flowing. There's no dams. Except for Lake Wisconsin, which is in bounds. It's that river makes the lake, but other than that, it's all above the lake and then below the lake here. It's just total free flowing and without the dams, which raise the elevation, which help create a lot of the vegetation and the largemouth fishery to be so good. This one is going to be Lake Wisconsin's got great largemouth in it and smallies, but big largemouth. And then the free flowing section of the Wisconsin River, a little bit more smallmouthy, but there's still sloughs and backwaters that have some really big largemouth too. So it's going to be incredible. People are catching 6 and 7 pound smallies out of this place, and it might expose a new kayak fishery for other national trails. I've given some information to several of these places already to some other tournament directors, some national directors. So you never know if some of these pop off for us. We're not going back, year after year. We're going to new places. This is all about adventuring. So we're going to go to new places, as hard as that is, because you got to make all brand new deals with these, tours and apartments. We want to adventure and explore new places and expose. And again, that helps the intermediate anglers compete against the top anglers there, because no one knows exactly, we all know if you go to these lakes we go to all the time, your Gunnersville, Chick, Fork, whatever, we all know where everyone's going to be and what they're going to be doing. And it kind of gets a little stagnant and boring. And so the new places like this, I mean, it's a coin flip. You know what I mean?
I remember you talking about this a couple of years ago on the podcast, how we have all these different waters that tournaments never hit.
Yeah.
And they're perfect for kayak fishing. You're finally getting the opportunity to showcase some of these places that, like you said, could be a new staple in kayak fishing tournaments.
For sure. I mean, and to the credit of all the other trails, those big national trails, they branch out and do a few cool new locations every year as well. They like to hit their staples to make sure they get those in there. And that's great. We need to keep doing that too, but let's find the next Susquehanna, you know what I mean? For kayak anglers, the next, whether it's a lake or river system or what, but this could be one of those, this Wisconsin River for sure. But any of these could be really, Lake Wapapello and Poplar Bluff put out 2 30-pound bags this spring. I mean, that's as far southeast corner of Missouri. It's a pretty warm climate. It's in basically right at the edge of where the Mississippi River floodplain starts, and it gets pretty warm there, and they grow them pretty big. So there's some giants to be had there. There's, I could see this Michigan one, dude. It is, I'm talking great. And the 3 lakes, if you put just the 3 main, you don't have to do 10 like we do. We have 10 lakes. If we wanted to highlight all these small lakes in that area as well, and just thought it was cool to have like these little smaller ones that are horsepower restricted or electric only. And they're so, the communities and the counties, they're resources that have bass and they manage them, and like, why not include them with kayak? You know, I mean, dude, there's 8 lakes in play at the Harris chain. Like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like, the Bassmaster Elites were just there. What's the difference? Just because they're all connected technically and you can get there by a boat. Well, for kayak fishing, that's just not the way it has to be. And that's how we can start to expose these new fisheries and create our own new game, own new puzzle, if you will, to solve. And you don't practice fish every lake in the Harris chain if you're a kayak angler going there, or a bass boat guy, right? You can't get to them all. So what's the difference? There's no difference. You just have to learn with map study and skills and research and YouTube and Google how to narrow water down and find what you like to fish. And I think that's why I actually have had a fair amount of success, because I don't have live scope. I'm forced to narrow it down to the areas that I know my style fits. So I've already crossed off like 80% of the entire inbounds water at our tournaments. You know what I mean? It's easy for me just to say, all right, all I have to do is focus on this 20% and then hope there's fish there. But and the finale is called Broodstock, just so you know. It's in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So, and there will be some giants caught there too. There's a couple of really good lakes and bounds, and some really great rivers and creeks. What's that?
Close to Kurt.
That's not
that's
far.
not far at all from Kurt, man. That'll have bigger prizes, bigger payouts. We'll announce the AOI, the team of the year, at that one. It's an open event, but it's just called Broodstock. That's just our name for our Red Crest or Classic. And AOI is easy too. I mean, dude, Kurt, that is close to you, man. If you get to, all you got to do for AOI is fish 2 of those 5 regular season events. 2, that's it. And then combine that with that Broodstock score to make 3. So that's not that many, you know. So you can still fish a full schedule of Hobie and Bassmaster or KBF or All American, whatever else you're doing, and just fit 3 of these in. Because there's not a lot of people who are going to fish, you know, like 3 or 4 or 5 of those regular ones, because they're just so spread out.
Yeah.
Most people are going to fish.
But I like that about this series is that you are really spread out and you're going to all these new places. This is kind of like a breath of fresh air almost, you know. And like you said, it takes us kind of back to those boondoggle days that, I mean, I think some people don't even know what we're talking about.
They don't.
When we say that. And these were events that people would just come to, and it wasn't a tournament. They would just come and hang out and fish. And there was always a side pot. There was always some guys getting together and kind of making their tournament. But, you know, it was about having a good time.
Hundreds of people.
And some fellowship. I really am interested about this because of how you incorporated that into having tournaments. It's going to be.
We will see, man. And but yeah, there was like hundreds of those boondoggles. You know, 400 or 500 people. Kind of felt like those KBF national championship days back when you won. You know, there was 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 people at one of them. You know, so we'll get back to some of that and see what happens. But you guys, anybody watching or listening, you can go register. Just go to kayakadventureseries.com. It's real simple. On that each page, you know, that we pull up, you find the one that you want to fish or want information on, and that's it, man. There's no like, in other words, the information's only there on that page. It doesn't go on TurnDX and then there and then an email or anywhere else. It's like, that's it, dude. And if anything changes on that page that is important in terms of the actual competition part, we turn it red if we had to make a change. So, and we leave it there for a year so people know there's a change. So when you go back to the website, just scroll through. If you see anything in red, you know, because you may not ever go back. You know what I mean? Once you look at the rules or something, you might not go back. And then all of a sudden something changed. And so we're trying to just keep it simple. There's a lot of information on there. We've got everything from lodging recommendations to friends and family activities. Like, there's a ton. So go check it out. But really, it's actually super simple. It's in the fact that just come fish, have fun, and that's about it. So, and hopefully we'll expose it.
And what tournament management system are you using for it?
Oh, we are using TurnDX, and then I'm outsourcing my tournament director part of this whole thing. I mean, I made the rules and whatever boundaries, but the actual enforcing and the judging and everything else, and a lot of, you know, refunds, any other logistical tournament director stuff, all is done by Real Tournament Management, Amanda Brannon, and her crew. So, yep, we got them. That way, I don't even want to have the GPS coordinates. I don't even want to have the TurnDX login. I never have ever directed anything when TurnDX was around. I did my own thing back at River Bassin, but I don't want to ever. So if Steve or AJ or anybody wants to go to one of these locations after us, I don't have a clue where anyone caught anything. I don't even want to have that people even say that, because I like finding my own fish. That's what's fun. I like to adventure. That's the whole point of this thing, right? So I just told her, I said, I want you to outsource and you take care of all this so I can just focus on the fun. So we jokingly made my title Founder of Fun at the Kayak Adventure Series.
And that says a lot about you, man, right there, that you proactively did that as a tournament director, you know.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes about you as a person. And so
that
just is all more reason more people need to jump on this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's gonna be cool, because if you guys do, and I'm able to get, keep growing this thing, I've been fairly successful. I mean, without any real ammo yet, other than just convincing them with my own following and whatever credentials you want to call them, to get some of these big name sponsors on board. But there's no telling, if we get some ammo, we start getting, couple hundred people at these events, 200, 300, 400, start growing it. There's no telling what big non-endemics we can get involved in this sport, and it could change this sport forever. I mean, with the way it's done, and we get to highlight everyone's style and the diversity of this, of the sport. It's crazy. And I don't want to keep going too long, because I don't want to talk about other stuff, but the rules, we feel like, we've got some fun, different things in there. You can troll, we allow 2 rods at one time if you want to pitch back in and catch the follower fish, or troll with 2 rods, or if you're just hung up and you want to throw another rod in. Well, technically, by the rules, the way they're written now, that bait could get eaten off the log by a fish who's sitting there staring at it when you're hung up. So throwing another rod in, you're technically breaking the rules. So you can, portage over logs.
Never thought about that. That's so awesome. Yeah. Like, so many times you burn a spot because you got hung up on something. I never even thought about being able to throw something else in there. That's a good idea.
I mean, even if I have I throw straight braid. So when a fish misses my top water, sometimes a couple times, and they just stop hitting it, and I'll just rip it back like a fly rod, and it lands who knows where behind me, like 30 yards behind me or whatever. And I throw in another bait. Well, I realize in a tournament, I can't do it because that bait's behind me. It's out in the water. Technically, I'd have to reel it all the way up. So I do that now, but that rule just kind of helps alleviate any of that question. You know what I mean? And we want people to be safe. So we want them to be able to portage, natural obstacles like, logs and rapids and stuff. They don't feel comfortable staying in their kayak and doing so. That's why we kind of allow that stuff too. And
especially if you're doing like a long float and you float down a river and you hit, and there's one rapid that you don't feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that person can walk around that one rapid
safely,
and not have to risk their life because they wanted to do that 6 mile float or 4 mile float or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm excited about it. Well, hopefully more. There's already 50 something people registered, and like there's 50 something registrations, and probably 39 or 40 unique individuals, or no, more than that, like 40, 44, 45 unique individuals. And then around, already we've had it's been pretty impressive. Well, you get $100 in sponsors, sponsor prize bag, like a gift bag for if you're one of the first 100 that sign up. So that's a cool incentive. But for a kayak fishing tournament, that's a lot to have already for being 16 days out. Like, well, I'm hoping we can get 150 to 200, and the more the merrier, because the way we did our payouts, and I could have pulled out the payout chart, but I'll tell you, if we have 150 people at $150, Amanda and I worked it where the winner will get $7,000. So that's with everyone paying 150. Now, if there's youth in there, they pay 75. So that'd be, they get a little bit of a discount. But anyway, they get about $7,000 for 150 people, which is not crazy to think that we won't get there. And then if they enter the team division, we get enough teams and they do good there, or win, or happen to do good with their team, then they're going to win another, 2,000 or 3,000. They'll split with their partner. And then we have, obviously the micro
Sunday
bag
deal.
and the Sunday deal, but that's kind of minimal. But someone still could win the Triple Crown, could catch the 5 smallest, the 5 biggest, and win the team and get the entire Triple Crown. That is doable for sure. And speaking of awards, we actually have a cool Century belt that we can give away too if you get to 100 inches, which could definitely happen at every tournament. I think it will at Shoaliepalooza because you're giving them an extra 4 hours to fish, right? So it's a little easier to get to 100 when you got an extra 4 hours. It's still hard, but a little easier at least. But then the other thing I was going to say, it was like there was a topic we were just talking on. What was it? What were we just talking about there before I
registrations?
Switch gears. Yeah, the registrations. So the registrations, We probably have that many unique individuals, and the payouts are like $7,000. But even if 100 people, I think it's like 6,000 for first. So the last thing I was going to mention is the local clubs. We have a local club, if not 2 or 3. Susquehanna's got 3 local clubs. So if you really are doing this for a living or really serious about the money, if that's what, to us, that's not like the priority of these events, but obviously it is for some people, then if you enter everything, the local club events, if you win obviously the main one, you're probably going to win the local club event, right? The joint event. So, and a lot of these local clubs they're like, some of them are $50 and $75 entry fees, and they get 100, they're going to have 100 something people in those. So you're going to win another. So the point is, it's still going to be 5 figures. By the time someone wins one of these events, if it's got 150 people in it, in that range, and they entered all the divisions, they're going to walk away with 5 figures. So it's going to be pretty cool for some people to do that. But, and just see what kind of other fun stories and just stuff comes from the events, people getting together and making friendships and going and fishing all the other tournaments together. So hopefully we can just keep the positivity going, because I'm trying to, and Steve and AJ and Chad and all of us and the whole sport, everybody, local clubs. But I think us in particular, who are trying to communicate well and keep the positivity going, because we see what happens if in pro bass fishing with MLF and bass, they don't really get along, and it's a lot of negative, and the fan base is split, and there's a lot of just it's not fun. It's just, I'm kind of over it. I think everybody is. And so we don't want to see kayak fishing ever get to that, and we all understand there will be a little bit of overlap between anglers or dates possibly, but if we communicate, then that means, okay, like, someone will be all the way in Texas when someone's in Virginia, you know what I mean? Like, we do it like that, you're really not hurting anybody, and it's just more opportunity for the anglers. So I think we'll, as long as we keep communicating, and we can continue to grow it, because if you look at those people that are entered the event right now, there's like I said, like 38 in the individual division, and several other unique people that weren't in that division in the team. But if you look at those 44 unique people, there's a lot of names that you've never seen on any other roster for those other events before. And what's cool about that is that's showing it's working. We're bringing like new people into the competitive side of the sport. They fall in love with it. And obviously we only have 6 events. They're like, man, I want to fish more. Well, guess where they're going? They're going, hopefully, to either obviously local clubs for sure, but obviously if they want to go national, they go to all those other national trails. And now the rising tide raises all ships sort of analogy is actually coming true, and it's being proven if we can pull this off. So we will see.
It seems like from this event, having GoPro as your title sponsor, you're going to have a whole lot of content from a guy who used to have his own TV show. Is there something that we can expect on the back end that you're putting together?
Yeah. We're going to put it all together like in a show, and it's going to be fairly easy. I'll say easy. It's never easy to edit stuff, but what's cool is you guys will go to the website, and actually I may have scrolled across the menu, and there's a media tab or for anglers tab. I forget which one it's under. And there's a GoPro submission form, or a video submission form. It doesn't have to be a GoPro, but obviously, but what we want to try to do is encourage the anglers to film themselves. So whether it's a GoPro or whatever, or if it's just your phone, after you get done taking your fish and your picture and scoring your fish, just turn your phone around and have a rig set up where you can get a good shot with your phone, hopefully on landscape, but vertical is fine too. And just hold the fish up, pan it across real slowly, that camera on your phone, and say, 22 inches, whatever, like, let's go, and let her go. And then I just shook the fish there. I noticed I did on both. So one of them's the fish. So anyway, let the fish go. And just that right there, just being shown on the big screen is at minimum is not much to ask. And it would be pretty darn cool to see that fish on a video and release it. Obviously the picture on the board is awesome, on that Tourney X board, that's great. But having those videos, and then hopefully the GoPro videos you guys get on Friday, it'll be pretty easy for anyone. So what we need from people for the theater is just the best clip you got. And what your biggest fish was, or your best fish fight. If there's multiple fish that were close to the same, length or whatever, pick the coolest one. And we prefer to encourage people to film from behind them to get more of the action, because you can turn and hold the fish, and you can even use your phone if you want another angle for the front, or another GoPro if you got another GoPro. But just film from the back, hardwire it in, and just run that sucker and send us, just trim it with that GoPro quick add. Just trim it down to that minute, 30 seconds. Go to our website, click submit, and just upload that footage. It will not take long for a minute clip. And you guys, the anglers, are the ones editing our show for us. And what's cool is you're also telling us, like, if you, people will be hesitant to like give over their entire SD card of fishing for a day. They don't know what we're going to pull and show, what landmarks. They don't know what, maybe they did something unintentionally wrong. We find out, we're like, oh God, what about this? We got to, you don't have to worry about that. Maybe they were accidentally left it on when they were using the bathroom or something, you know, like no one wants that stuff, but you guys have the control to give us that minute clip. That's money. That's the shot that represents you and your day the best. It's the most exciting, you and your sponsors. And that's pretty cool that they can just send it to us. And then the beauty is we'll get that and get through it real quick, and we'll see who the top 10 is. And we'll make sure the top 10, hopefully we can have a clip from each one of them, you know, and then we'll go on the screen on the stage, and Alex Rudd is probably going to be up there with me on the first one. And he's going to be at a couple of them, 2 or 3 emceeing with me, and we'll watch it together, and we'll all laugh at the fun stuff that happens. And then, like I said, it keeps it a little bit lighter, you know, as well. And it's just cool to have a true stage and be in air conditioning with food and drinks and comfy seats and everyone paying attention all together. So and then for the photos and videos, it's going to be cool. And then we'll turn it into a show afterwards. We'll edit it all down to a show. And what's cool is, like I said, it's going to be pretty easy. As long as we got the cameras on us and we're mic'd up on stage, we're kind of telling the story already. And then you guys are supplying the B-roll. And obviously if you didn't make the stage, or you didn't make the stage, we actually pay out 15% too, by the way. So people get paid all the way down to top 15%, and give them an award too. So you got something to take home and show off. Right. So it's pretty cool. But that's kind of the idea with the whole thing is just, I don't know. I was going somewhere with that, but I'm just,
with the content, it seems like,
yeah, we're going to put it together, the show. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense for people like Alex Rudd or anybody who's, you know, a fishing content creator. It seems like a great event, not only because it's fun, but you're going to get a lot of content if that's your deal too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But man, I went on about this.
Sounds like a good time, you know?
It will be a good time. So hopefully you guys come join us at Shoaliepalooza or Wild White Hall. Get in early in case you have a good tournament, and then it'll be worth your time. Trust me, these places were handpicked for a reason. And like I said, 2025 is just as good, if not even better. So if you guys will trust us and come and show up and fish these, then I'll keep making sure that I send us to, the priority is the best fisheries. That's it. You know what I mean? That's the priority. Second priority is I got to make sure there's a theater there. You know what I mean? And other than that, we're good, you know, and as long as I can convince the town to have us. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Definitely went on longer than I thought for that topic, but it's been a fun conversation, and I'm excited about it. And hopefully we'll get up to that 150 and just keep momentum going, you know?
Yeah. I predict on the first one, you're going to have 150.
I hope so. I think so. I mean, you would think having this many people, because I was looking at how I didn't never notice before, like how, you know, if it's a Hobie or Bassmaster or whatever, that, you know, if they have 10 people 2 weeks up to the tournament, they still end up with 125, 150.
Yeah.
Just 10. Now
over half sign up right before the event.
Yeah, right before. So I think we'll get there.
What local club is it? Peach State?
Peach State. Yeah. Yep. So you can.
I mean, it's a pretty big club. So
it's a pretty good sized club. So you would think anyone at Peach State, you're crazy not to fish the Peach State event and the K.A.S. event, really, to Shoaliepalooza, really, because I mean they got the advantage. You know, these other people are coming to catch a bucket list fish, and they've never caught it before. And I'm not saying you can't win doing that, because you certainly can. I mean, 10 killer. I'd never been there. I'd never been to Grand Lake. Never been to Lewis Smith Lake. Never. I mean, I won them all my first time there. It's possible. And maybe that helps sometimes, actually, I think, because your eyes are like open. Because I won the first time I was at Dardanelle, right? I'd never been there. And then all of a sudden I go back, and it's probably one of my worst finishes in a big tournament ever. It was like 40-something place. And I just was like, what the heck? It was a different time of year, and everything just, nothing played the same. And I just was stuck with some of this history I had, thinking it was going to work. And so it can mess you up, you know? So going in blind, not blind, but like, you know, first time can really be an advantage of some of these tournaments. So,
well, I know my buddy Nick Dyer, who got second in AOY last year. He's one of the, been one of the Peach State Kayak TDs for years. And I know he can catch them there.
He can. We've been working with Nick and on getting Pete State part of this, and I think he'll be there at that event for sure. And we will. I'm sure we'll be seeing what happens. The only thing I don't know yet is we're still trying to get everything figured out, and making sure we're gonna have a lot of bugs on this first one. It's gonna be like a little bit of a cluster. But as long as those videos show up on that screen, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter, because with the Northeast Ohio group, speaking of Ohio guys, Kurt, the local clubs, I did a test on this thing with the K.A.S guys, the Kayak Anglers of Northeast Ohio, teamed up with them, and for October we and I gave away a GoPro for whoever it was like a month-long October Fest or whatever event, and whoever had the best clip, voted on the best clip or whatever, won a GoPro, right? So we all met up at one of the shops near us up here, Falls Adventure Company, and we had all the clips submitted, and we showed them, and everyone had a great time just watching them, laughing. I mean, some epic eats. This swim bait just gets inhaled. You can see it. And I was like, man, if there's 15 of us here or 20, whatever it was, and we're so excited about this on the TV, and we were laughing, and there were some funny clips submitted, which was great. Like this bobber that's just swimming around in the lake, and he's catching it because he knows there's a fish on it, and somebody broke off, and he pulls up this catfish, and it was just really cool. Because those are the fun clips we encourage people to submit after the event, so that we can get that edit. The edit of the actual event might be the TV show edit or whatever you want to call it, months and months later. It doesn't need to be immediate, because we already know who won. We just want to give anglers time to go back home, get back to their lives, and then figure out scrub their footage, find the best stuff, and then submit it through the website, But so it was a blast. That was one of the funnest things. And I was like, man, if worst case scenario, if just these videos, if we just get on that screen and we just get all the, the standings and everything correct, which we will. Amanda's done this for years and years in terms of the judging. This is going to be a blast. And we're going to hand checks out right off the stage. You get your check when you walk off the stage. Here you go. Thanks for fishing with us. We're just trying to do everything we can to just make it as, angler friendly as possible. And so we started a whole separate bank account. All the money goes in there, never gets touched. There's no reason it should be, because all of it just goes right back out to the anglers, and the fee, other than the fees, obviously attorney X and stripe fees, and helps cover Amanda Brandon and what she's doing. So it just sits there and just goes. So why can't we hand a check out right when you walk off stage? You can, and we're going to do it. So the rules we made with this series, yeah, I mean, we just said if it doesn't make if it's a rule that doesn't help the anglers catch more fish and have more fun or make their lives easier, whatever, then we just don't make it, or we change it. If it's a rule that, you know what I mean? And if it does, then that's a rule we keep, as long as it doesn't, for some crazy reason, give anybody some unfair advantage. But typically, if there's a rule and everyone can do it, no one is at an unfair advantage, because everyone can do it, So we'll have to see, because bass fishing, how the sport is, no one wants it. It's funny, because we didn't used to want any certain style to dominate. We didn't want an A-rig to be legal, because it was going to make the sport boring, and everything was going to be predictable, right? It's going to be won by A-rig. Oh, next event's going to be won by A-rig. It's going to be won by an A-rig. That's what we thought was going to happen. So we outlawed it. But now, of course, we pretty much have live scope, and most of them are one with live scope, and it seems to be okay. But for our event, we do want the variety and the diversity for this K.A.S stuff. So if we see down the road that there's something that we can tweak or change, if there's one segment of anglers that's has some advantage or something over the other, then maybe we'll tweak it. But I don't think we'll ever have to, because if a certain style is dominating or winning, then other people might just kind of move over to that style a little bit. And then all of a sudden it leaves open this other style again, because it cannibalizes. The anglers kind of always take care of it. You know what I mean? It cannibalizes the fish. I remember there was an event there was an unnamed event. I won't say what series it was. Unnamed. I think you fished it. Tan. It was in Alabama, and I think it was on the Coosa chain. And for some reason, this one launch in this one area was basically deemed not legal, or it was made, not legal, or very hard to access. Some accesses that were closest to it were made very hard to access, because it was a very hot spot dam or something. And it was this is weird. But I mean, tournaments are won there all the time, or a lot of big fish are caught there. It's like, yeah, but when you're bringing the best anglers in the country somewhere, they all know that. They're going to figure it out. And trust me, when 10 people go up there, it's not getting one there. The anglers will always figure it out. Just let it be. Let them figure it out and be. Because a lot of times you'll think everyone's going to go there. It's a community hole. I'm not going to fish it. And then all of a sudden, everyone was thinking that, and no one's there. And you have it to yourself. So it's kind of the game and the strategy. And we just don't want to stand in the way of that. We just want to let you guys figure it out. And then let the chips fall.
I've caught the hell out of them right there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, but could you win a tournament there if 10 other people were there?
No.
Or if 10 other or 20 or 30 people pre-fished it, smashing them all during the week. Could you win a 2-day tournament there after all that pressure with that many people that would have tried it? I don't think so. So there's no need to ever really. We'll just try to keep it open and let people figure it all out, and somebody will win and have a good time.
That's right.
So. But
all right. So we don't have you for too much longer. We got to ask, dude, you won. Yeah. The big, awesome blue trophy. If you're just listening to this, it's like the most bitchin' trophy I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty cool. They did a good job. Yeah. I mean, I think Catch made them. So it's got the Bass logos there. So yeah, it's a cool trophy from Catch for sure. So
what is it now? The Kayak Classic? What do they call it now?
Well, it's the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship still. They don't ever want to let us use the word classic. Yeah, it's so
it's a Kayak Classic.
Yeah, reverence or whatever, for the big boys in the boats there. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, so basically what I did was, I realized I had no chance anywhere else based on the fact that I don't really like to use electronics and don't have live scope. And I was like, well, I've been having success without it. So I was like, I'm just going to go up that river. I knew that river was good.
Are you like a verb now? You drewed it?
Yeah, I guess I just drew it. That's funny. We'll have to maybe you guys can coin that, like your podcast here. The Advanced Angler for the Bass Kayak and Beers has coined a new phrase. I drewed it. So I just went and drewed it up the river and just rigged that torpedo up as shallow as it could go. And that crescent shoalie that I fish out of, and it's really good in the river, and just kind of, got it to eat and chew it in like full throttle in about 7 or 8 inches of water once you get the suction kind of going, and got it to hit about 6.7 miles an hour with the weight distribution and trimming of the prop, and just sort of during my pre-fishing, I was
rooster tail up a creek.
Yeah, basically. And once I found those fish and I knew they were there, because it's been on my bucket list to fish that river. Just never had a reason to go out there and fish it. Because I knew there was big like smallmouth, and I didn't realize the largemouth were that big in there, but I knew that there was big smallmouth in the lake and the river. Obviously, they're in both. But with smallmouth being a really good river fish, they took off up that river once they put them in there back in like the 80s. And that bigger strain of smallmouth is ones they put in that lake. So it was good that they did that. I mean, good for fishery, but kind of bad for the Neosho smallmouth that got unfortunately kind of displaced. But they don't get that big anyway, so all right, sorry, but they're kind of gone now, the native ones. But so I just went up the river and found a spot, a few miles up that I thought no one would really. This is the first day of practice. No one would really actually get to, because it was so hard to get up that stuff. You had to paddle sometimes with it on full speed and paddle with proper form, and knowing whitewater kayaking skills, which currency and which water was the easiest for your kayak to get up. You know what I mean? That had the lowest flow to be able to ferry and work it just right. Very hard. But, I mean, even the practice day, I went like the launch ramp. You can turn left down a dirt road and go half mile further up the river. Obviously, in practice, we can launch from wherever. It doesn't have to be the actual ramp. So I stayed up there on Saturday of practice. I think this is 4 days before the tournament. So I had like basically 3.5 days of fishing because I got there midday. And in a few hours, I had like 91.5 inches, went way up. And I realized then I was going to fish there. So from that point forward, I got out of that. I saw one other angler up there that day. I don't know who he was. He was on the other side of the river. I waved as he was coming down. I was going up. And then I got out of there and never was seen there again. I didn't want to be like seen. it's weird, like even like Bass Boat Pro, no one wants to be seen. You know what I mean? Like no Elite Series guy wants to be seen on their juice. When they found it in practice, they want to get out of there as soon as possible and never be seen. Otherwise, someone else is going to go over to that point and start scanning and see what's there. Why was Lee Livesey here? Why was, whoever, like Jay Shakir there, So I got out of there and I was like never going to go back. So I didn't. Actually went up the next day, went to the lake, and I got that Torpedo in that Crescent Shoalie, figured out where I could go as fast as possible and trim it as shallow as possible, and just got the rock guard on secure, and just got it all just dialed, my weight distribution, everything. And then I went, maybe I spent part of that day, went upstream to some access points that were further upstream they're public, but it weren't, part of our legal launches for the tournament. Because again, I wanted to start exploring. I went about 3.5 miles up that first day. So now I wanted to go and float down to that point, right? And then go up and to continue to make sure I could get up. Because based on the rules, you got to be able to float, paddle, float, whatever, in and out of your area. So anyway, then I just started doing that the next several days. And to one point I was 15 miles upstream. And I know I would never get 15 miles upstream, but I was at that point, I wanted to see how far I could get, just so I knew. And I had borrowed a bunch of Torpedo batteries from friends. I had like 7 batteries, and not that I took with me. I didn't take 7, but I had 7 with me. Like actually, because sometimes you get off the water so late, you can't even get a full charge on them because they're kind of slow charging. So anyway, then but when I was up that far, like when I was way up there, I was more just like learning how to catch the fish in the river. You know what I mean? Beating up fish that I would never need and learning how to catch them, because whatever applies up here is going to apply 5, 6, 7 miles downstream, when I was way up, 13, 14, 15 miles up. So it was cool because I was never being seen by anybody. I was just learning the river, figuring it out. And then tournament day came and the hard part was during pre-fishing. Our Airbnb was 5 minutes from that ramp on the river, the northernmost ramp, which is great too, because we were close to the town of Tahlequah, which is what our host city was. So it's kind of nice when we had to go back there. It was very short. So, but the bad news was I did see people and watch people just drive by the Airbnb every day pre-fishing. I'm seeing all the biggest hammers in our sport, going there, man. The river anglers that just are sticks, your Matt Balls, your Russes, your Jodies, like all the guys at my house, fishing at, Creek Fishing Adventures, Jake Hepner. I mean, guys that love rivers, a lot of them, Ryan Reed. We had a lot of good anglers in the house. Brian Slayton, Ohio guy, creek caller. Good river guy. And I had to just sit there and like watch everyone just fish it all and just hammer it. But I didn't really care because I knew in one sense it was maybe nervous, but in the second sense I was like, but they can't get, I don't think many people have a setup like mine that can get. Steve Baker actually at our house, really good angler, Ohio guy too. He was the only one that ended up being there at the ramp on day 1 with me. And he had a setup ready to do exactly what I did. And he's a little bit of a student of I think what I do and Jeff Little. And he had a dynamite setup to do the exact strategy. And he did. He was way up there with me on day 1. I didn't have quite as good of a day, but anyway, that's kind of what I did. I went up. I knew that those anglers that were fishing it, first of all, I noticed they all were going there on the 2 worst days, post front, the worst weather. It got super cold and they didn't have much success. And obviously, because no one else was there, but Steve Baker and I at the ramp, on tournament day. So obviously they didn't find them or didn't find enough to like want to fish there. And I knew even if they did, they were only going a few miles up, and I knew I could get up some of that swift, just shallow stuff that was they probably couldn't. So it just worked out, man. I started in a largemouth slough, caught some good ones there every day. The first day I left there, I had everything over 16 inches. And then your smallmouth would be in the slough kind of got a little murky because some beavers go back there and do some stuff, and that water just kind of stays a little bit green and a little bit murky too the further back you get with those beavers moving around some. And then the actual river's crystal clear, and it's sketched. Like, I mean, sketch, it's so clear and low. You're just like, man, for my style, and the water's still being pretty cold, mid-50s. It's like, man, I don't know if I'm power fishing, straight braid. I just don't know how. I even had some fluoro rods on me with just in case.
What?
But I did.
Get out.
Yeah, I did. Even some spinning rods, Dan. You'd be impressed. And I even caught a good one. I'll show a video here in a minute. You guys want a spinning rod, but I found some good fish way upstream on the last day of practice, and I wanted to know. Well, I found them the day before the last day of practice, but the last day of practice, I went with a spinning rod an 8-pound straight braid, just real thin straight braid and a spinning rod with a Z-Man Gobius and a Slim Swim, and just swam it through them and see if they would eat it. And I caught a couple, 16 and like one that was almost 18, and I knew they would hit it. So I stopped fishing after I caught those two. So I was like, all right, I know they're going to hit this. They'll hit it on straight braid, even in that crystal clear water. I'm good. And so, but it's scary, in that clear water, it's just tough to get the bites. And if the water had been a little bit warmer, I would have definitely been a little bit more encouraged, but obviously it was enough. But yeah. And then I'll show you this video. Actually, hang on. It's not the one you got there. So we can go in chronological order. I will pull it up in chronological order here. The fish that was basically a real fish of significance on day one, after I had a pretty good limit, like I had a 19 in that slough with a largemouth, but the smallmouth that I caught is this one right here. Sorry, this one. No, it's not that one. Pull the other clip up.
Oh.
That's day 2, so I don't know. So the smallmouth clip here, this is that clear water when it went further up. Do you see the other one there?
Yep.
Okay. Good. And I can scrub it because this is a long clip. But basically, this is 30 minutes before line's out. And if I don't hook this fish here and catch it, then I don't win this thing, because it upgraded me from like a 16 to this is like a 19.5-inch smallie. And so now I'm doing and just if anyone wants to, this is the Advanced Angler, so we got to give some tips there. After I hook up, I loosen the drag, like, it's pretty smart if they're in open water to do. It's just a pretty deep pool here. It's a pretty big pool. And I hold the spool. I don't know what you guys do, but I hold the spool a lot, just because if I see her going towards a log or something, I just hold it so I can pull her away, you know what I mean? Because the drag's really loose, so I'm holding that drag from doing anything, holding the spool so it's not going to, the drag won't work. And then I'll let off whenever I need to. But because I just kind of know about how much pressure that it will break, you know what I mean? Or pull straighten the hook or whatever.
Come on, please.
So this is kind of a long fight. I mean, I let her just wear herself out in this deep pool forever, knowing that you got a small hook on that Z-Man Gobius. But here in a second, I have a net behind me. I should have grabbed it. I looked at it many times, and I just don't use nets because I mostly power fish with big single hooks. And I should have used that net. So this is a learning lesson, you guys. Like, just if it's a spinning rod fish with small hooks, just use the net. Because when I land this fish, I make a big mistake, and I know not to do this, and it kills me that, like, how does this happen? She's about to go towards a log, and I literally freak out so much that I bring the rod behind me, and I just start grabbing the line, which is just not what you're supposed to do. You want to keep that pressure and that tension on that fish. And sometimes when you grab the line, it's easier for them to get a little slack, So I grab the line here in a second because she's going to this log, and I belly her in the boat, and I flop her in. And as I'm flopping her in, the Gobius falls out of her mouth. Literally just falls out. And I say, oh my God, the Gobius just fell out of her mouth. I could fast forward a little bit here, get to that point.
So if you would have lost any pressure, it would have come off, huh?
Yeah, I shouldn't see that. Just that little point to the right there, that little that's coming out. You can see a log under the water. Here in a second, you're going to see that log right there on the right. Because I'm saying no, because there it is. It's right below my kayak now. It's a big old log. She's trying to go under it, so you can kind of see it. And then just start grabbing the line to freak out. And that was not good. But it worked out, obviously. But
oh my God, the Gobius just fell out. Oh my God. Thank you, God.
That was like, that's pretty wild.
Oh!
But
did you know at that point you needed another fish?
Well, that's day one. So it's day one.
Yeah.
I culled out 3 inches, like a 16 to a 19.5 or 16 something.
Big call.
Yeah.
19.5 on the Gobius. Let's go, BS. That's this kind of stupid dad joke.
That was a dumb dad joke. But now let her go. So that's it.
Cool.
But yeah, we'll give her some air there and send her on her way. But then, and I mean, I've got the front angle of that one if you guys want to see it. But you guys saw the bait comes out of her mouth. It's not. I mean, we're showing. But on day 2, that got me to 90 inches even, which was in 4th place. So then on day 2, you can show that other clip. This is the very first fish of the day, man. Just only fish I caught on chatterbait the entire tournament. This is my largemouth slough. Oh, hang on, I'll start it back over. This is my largemouth slough.
I guess it brings clips, man. You rock.
Yeah, man, it was cool. They were able to show this. I edited this real quick, and they were able to put it on the big screen behind me at the Classic. So as I'm talking with Steve Owens, they were showing this clip. This is the big bass of the tournament, 22-inch.
Damn.
Had a lamprey on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you see that lamprey? Look at that thing.
Oh, my old faithful Project Z chatterbait.
I'm going snowboarding afterwards, as you can see.
Oh, that is get some good.
But
Hey, dude, I'm
22
not knocking it if it works.
so you can see there how fat
that's a
she was,
great
and
way
that's
to
why I'm
start
kind of saying she's about 6.5,
Morning on final day.
22 inches,
Bassmaster
that fat. I
Kayak
mean, it's just,
Championship.
but that was huge because it calmed me down a little bit, let me know that all right, I got a big fish on the board, and but then I came across a little bit of adversity because I fished that slough and caught a 16, and then I missed 3 other fish, and then I was really bummed because it's a spinnerbait, murky water, you know, and they just I don't know what happened. They just kind of, one of them just was right at the boat and it swiped and missed it. You know, they all have a story. The other one, it was on it and it was in a bunch of wood and just pulled down in the wood. Next thing you know, I'm hung on the wood and there's no fish kind of thing. So they all had a story. And then I didn't leave my slough, and now I'm scared because I got that, you know, clear water and I've only got 2 fish and I got to go try to catch 3 more good ones. And I knew that some big smallmouth were up there, and fortunately it was a cloudy day on day 2. And I thought, man, this is at least going to play in my favor. So I was able to put a big swim bait on it. I'll show you this other clip right here, this big smallmouth, which probably would have taken second biggest bass of the tournament. I think probably did, but it was like a 21 1/4, and it is I turned on the GoPro right when it's after I hooked it. So here it is, this clip here, that new one I got in there. I'll remove those other ones. It's so you can see, you'll see how massive this thing is, and it's probably pushing 6 pounds. I mean, it's 5.5
Oh my God,
if it's not 6. And I put on a Zal Dangerous swim bait, 3rd cast I've never done this bait in my life. I picked it up at Jimmy Houston's Outdoors the night before. Literally
Top hook or the
top
regular?
hook, top hook.
Don't jump, just don't jump.
Watch
Man,
this jump. Look
I
at
hate getting that line through that deal.
Yeah, that is tricky. Look at the size of this fish here and that jump. I just gotta play it again, and you can see like it's just giant.
Jeez, it beats, man.
Yeah, it was huge, and I was like, I got to get this fish in, because I'd lost a 19-inch smallmouth right before this. And I see again, I don't really need the net when I'm, you know, on the big single hook baits, but I'll present one more thing you can pull up, Dan. But it was a crucial fish because I lost like I said, I lost like a 19 right before that. I caught a couple small spotted bass, actual spotted bass, not Alabama bass, like not Coosa spots, but this is the other one. This is from the front angle of that same fish. But I had 4 fish, but it, you know, because I caught those 2 small 14.5-inch spots. But then I lost a 19 right before this on some wood, which clued me into throwing more at this wood because they weren't on this stuff in practice. They were not on it. I was on my way to a giant big pool where a bunch of big ones were, and I didn't catch them in that pool. It turns out I didn't catch them, so I didn't learn from that missed fish. I learned from the missed fish, you know, the 19 that I lost.
Oh God, stop. Get in the boat, yes. Oh my God. What just happened?
That was pretty cool.
Just happened?
That was 21 1/4. But that just goes to show you got to fish the moment, fish every day. Because if I don't catch, I mean, I'm just moving my way upstream, like going fast, and I've got all my batteries. And I'm just trying to get to a certain spot. You know, a lot of time is wasted not fishing. But I'm just randomly just casting the spinnerbait because why not? And I caught those couple small spotted bass that were 14.5, and I said maybe there's something to this because the water's been going down every day, getting lower and lower and clear. And some of those areas they weren't holding on because they were a little too swift. We're starting to look like a lot calmer in the wood and stuff where they weren't holding. And I was like, well, if those 2 spotted bass were there, maybe I'll just keep going and keep focusing a little bit more on wood. Maybe I'll get bit before I get to my hole, right? Where I caught that 19.5 on day 1.
Yeah.
and I hook a 19-ish smallmouth. It jumped 3 times. On the third jump, it just threw the hook, and that would have been 5. And I know that would have put me on stage. You know what I mean? Top 10 for sure. So that was a heartbreaker because I don't know if I'm going to get bit again. But I got 2 hours left, 2.5 hours. So still a lot of time. But you just think, is that the one that's going to cost me? Like it's a giant. That would have really helped me out. And then the next fish I catch was this one, and then that was 5. So now I've got a pretty big bag, but I still got some couple small fish on there, and was able to cull out one of those with a 16 3/4 inch largemouth up in the hole I was going to on some wood that I saw. And then I fished for my big smallmouth, and I got thumped one time on that big swim bait, and just there was weight there, and all of a sudden it was gone. And then never got bit, in my other hole where I caught that gobies fish on day 1, and they just moved. They were not there. And I would have, you just got to fish the moment, because I wish I would have fished more of that wood now, because they'd moved kind of down to all the wood, and they were not there, because I saw them. That was crystal clear water. And I saw how many big ones were in this deep pool on rock, like literally 2 days before. And then all of a sudden they move. But yeah, they do. That smallmouth, man, they just move, and they change. And I'm lucky that I fished that wood like I did and caught that big fish, which obviously was a big part of the difference. So I still had a 14.5 left on the stringer, even though I got up to 90.5. But thanks to those 2 big ones, I was at 90.5. But I feel like if I would have caught some of those big fish in the slough that I lost, the 3, I never caught anything under 16 in that slough, nothing. So they were in the one I had on felt pretty big. So I feel like I could have had like upper 90s if I would have just, hooked and fish clean. But that's just fishing. You don't always fish clean, obviously. So it was just enough to win. And it was cool, man, being on the classic stage with Steve-O and all the rest of the top 10. Guillermo, second place, just a hammer, like always up there. And it was a lot of fun. It was nerve-wracking sleeping on that lead too, not knowing, because the board went off, and I never checked the standings all day long, but people were like, hey, they were like, did you know, or whatever? I was like, no, I didn't know anything. I really didn't know, because some people don't submit fish because they don't have cell signal or whatever, or they just, maybe they were sandbagging. I don't know. Some people don't submit any fish. Some people submit some, but maybe they culled in the last hour when the board went off, we don't know. So until we saw what happened to Jordan at the TOC, I think it was just last year when Brady won. I mean, we all thought Jordan had won. That was the doc talk. Everyone there interviewing him, the cameras, talking to him, and Brady's just kind of over there in the corner, just kind of being quiet. And he's all of a sudden down to the top 2. And he's standing
in the corner. We had him on last week.
Yeah. Did you? Oh yeah. Good dude. And he's got that new kayak shop. They just started carrying Crescent too. That was pretty cool. I saw Brady at the Classic and with his booth with his shop. So doing big things, man. That guy's awesome. And then, so yeah, that was crazy, because then they call, like, Brady's up there, and I don't even think Brady knows if he won. He just knows he had some coals when the board went off, and he doesn't know what Jordan maybe did or didn't do either after the board went off. So he didn't know, but yeah, so you just can't take it for granted. I didn't, it was just nerve wracking, hardly slept. And I had a 3.5 inch lead. And now Russ did at least help me out a little bit, because he saw I was pretty darn nervous, and he said he's pretty good friends, with G and Christine as well. And they were sitting together at the table for the awards that we did on Friday night, or whatever, not Friday night, Thursday night. Just the rest of the folks that got paid out, like 11th through whatever place, plus bringing the top 10 on stage just to announce the top 10 sort of thing. And he was sitting next to Guillermo, and he did say, he's like, I think you got it. Because I was like, do you know anything, man? Like, did Guillermo, did he upgrade? And so I at least knew that Guillermo, it sounded like, didn't upgrade, but that didn't mean anybody else didn't. You know what I mean? Because Guillermo just happened to be the one that was in the lead after day 1. It was right behind me when the board went off, and I just didn't know until they announced it. It was pretty cool, man.
Well, dude, congrats. Good luck on your new trail. I mean, life is good. Family's healthy. Yeah, your wife. You say your wife is a model now because she's modeling pictures for you. I mean, things are going as good as they can in the Drew house.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and just bless, and don't take it for granted, because I've certainly know what comes next in life. There's always another valley, and something's going to happen. So I'm going to enjoy it while I can, while we're all healthy and things are good, and just hopefully they stay that way. But I was in valleys before a lot of this stuff happened. We moved up to Ohio, and COVID and like we switched careers kind of with, moving from Jackson to Crescent and just had a big stretch of how am I going to provide for this family? What's going to happen? What's going on? That kind of deal. And it was tough. Still is tough, man. Still recovering from years without quality income. You know what I mean? So it's cool to see how God just kind of works in life and the ups and downs and just stay focused, and you guys will all have them and we'll be there for each other when we're in those valleys, and same with the peaks. We'll be there to kind of celebrate our successes too when we have good times like this. So appreciate you guys and all you do. And hopefully we'll see you at some events this year, whether I'm fishing against you or because I'm sure you're fishing Gunnersville, right? You guys going to be at Bass Gunnersville?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Fish down Kirk. Yeah, let's do it there. I'll be fun. And then
I'm putting an air tag thing on your Tacoma.
I wonder when people might start getting crazy and doing stuff like that. You never know.
I don't even know it. I've just heard about those things. I don't even know what it is. You're safe from me at least.
Well, here's the thing, man. It can work two ways. Like you find out where of Russ or just
go to the Torpedo House and tag everybody's vehicle while they sleep.
Yeah. Then you may know where not to go too. Like it might do the opposite. It might say, okay, if so-and-so's there, I don't want to like be around that, if Russ is there, like, do you really want to be fishing behind or around Russ when he's sucking everything up like a vacuum? Like probably not, so it actually could work the opposite way, but I'll see you guys there. That'll be fun. That'll be nice for me because I'll be done with this first Shoaliepalooza and I'll need like a chance to just go and be away from everything, just go fish, have fun. And, hopefully we'll see how that, goes, but maybe I'll see you guys at a Kayak Adventure Series event if you guys make it to any of these too, but I'm sure be a few times we'll probably run into you guys during the year. So I appreciate you guys having me. It's always fun, man. Always a good time on the show.
Well, your success couldn't have happened to a better person, family man out there trying to do right by his family. So we appreciate you being on every time you do, and great guests, bringing clips and everything else. So good luck, man.
Yeah. Thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Drew.
All right. Thanks everybody. We'll see y'all next week.